So, with that done, let's do that. And I guess it's time for this. Alright, settle down everyone. Settle down. Settle down. Settle down. We are here to explain a joke. It's quite a long joke, but that's fine. We don't shy away from long jokes here. A huge crab walks into a bar and says to the barman, "I demand 1 pint of lager. I will pay the full price provided the following criteria are met. The beer should be served to me within 1 minute of ordering and at a temperature between 6 and 9 degrees Celsius. The beer should be served in a clean, cold glass and a beer mat must be provided. If the quality of the provided beer does not meet my high standards, you must agree to refund the full amount charged and provide any additional financial compensation for any discomfort, stress or time wasted." Barman looks at the crab, says, "Why the big claws?" So that's the joke that Roger wants us to explain. So let's get to it. I should erase this first, though, shouldn't I? Let's see now. Yes. Okay. Right. So, crab. Let's start there, shall we? We should probably draw a crab. You don't have to take too long. I think we're all familiar, broadly speaking, with what a crab looks like. So we don't need to, put too much effort into drawing it. Just get a sketch down of roughly what a crab looks like, and then we can move on. But basically, a crab is a sea creature that has a sort of hard exterior shell and delicious soft inside, and it's possibly best. I believe it's I want to say crustacean. I think that's the type of creature it is. It's one of its peculiarities is that often its left limbs are much better formed, with a few exceptions, than their right limbs. But they scuttle around on these little legs here, you see, usually in a sideways motion. And they have these things here, which are called claws. Now, lots of animals have claws, and we tend to use claws to mean all sorts of different things. So we might talk about a bird's claw or a cat's claw, But what? Could we be banned for handshakes? No, Groggy. I need an audience. The full thing made it through to explain. What? Yeah, it did. It's weird, isn't it, Feather? Yeah. Now there's something going to certainly the best crab joke ever. Anyway. So again, we don't need to bother with too much detail on the crab. But in this particular joke of Roger's, this crab has as often the case in jokes, an animal is gifted the power of speech, and this particular, it's a thirsty crab. He's a thirsty crab. This one, I think we need to bring that out a little bit. He says to this barman, he basically rules off a whole load of rules, essentially, on the nature of the particular contract to purchase that is being put forward to the barman. And now, in contracts are essentially sets of rules or standards that the signatories, that is, the people who are signing the contract, are basically agreeing to. A contract's an agreement between two parties, usually governing a transaction of some kind. Not always, not always. You could have a good behaviour contract, for instance, and that's not really transactional. I suppose technically it's transactional because usually that good behaviour is in exchange for continued freedom or continued access, or So in that sense, it's transactional. What I mean is, it's not always financially transactional, as the situation is here. Do an N. He did the A weird. That's more about the fact that I'm writing with a mouse. Yeah, I don't usually draw the A's that way. I just find it easier with a mouse to do those two strokes. Capital N. I'm not going to apologise. That's how you do a capital N. 5. N5. N5N. That's how those letters are formed. Right, so and Gert's having a shudder there. Yes, and now a contract is usually broken down into sections. So first you would list the parties. And when I say parties, I am, of course, not referring to gatherings of 6 or more people in a non-work situation. I'm talking about particular sort of people, individuals, or groups of individuals or companies. Or a party can be essentially you are party to something if you are in agreement to it, or you are participating. You see, that's where the word comes from, really. You're party to something, you are participating in it. So you would list the parties first. So here, the parties would be the huge crab. There's the crab. And the other party would be... And it's now that we realise just how ruddy large this crab is. The barman. And what's the barman doing? He's doing what every imaginary barman is doing. He's polishing a glass. He's polishing a glass there. And that's the bar. Now, when I say bar, I'm not talking about the legal profession. I know we're discussing contracts here, but then, when I said bar, I'm not talking about the bar that solicitors are on. I'm talking about the bar that the solicitors might go for a swift pint after a particularly trying case. That sort of a bar. First of all, you get your parties. Yeah, you say this is a contract between X and Y, and then you would have your terms, wouldn't you? You'd have your terms. Now, that section of the contract, you're explaining what the stuff means that comes later on in the contract. So you're saying, if it was about organising an event, you might say the event. So you'd have the event, usually in bold, the event, and then a little thing explaining what you mean by the event. So after terms comes anyone? See if anybody can put it in chat before I finish writing it. Anyone? Condiments. Your salt, your no, not condiments. Conditions. And the conditions are generally separated into... there's various numerical systems for doing this. So you might have 1, and then within 1 you would have a Roman numeral number. I thought it was contraptions. Could have been. And and then after Roman numerals, that's probably fine. Hang on. What's going on? Let me see what you have. It is an pirate. I am carrying some stuff, but it might not be of interest to them. Give me 11,000 credit worth of... Oh, do you know what? I'm in the middle of explaining a joke, and I'm enjoying it so much. Let's... Let's jettison those guys. Oi, I bloody did it! Right, you. Oh. Let's get out of here. Sorry, those guys I just ejected. Oh, we were in the middle of explaining a thing, weren't we? Okay. I'm just going to quickly... Oh. That looks like a bug. Oh, that's not. It's just somebody else's... Somebody else is doing a thing there. I just want to hopefully get out of Dodge here. I just want to hide on this planet. Right. Enough of that. Ooh. Yeah, it would help if I alt-tabbed on the right keyboard. I'll integrity comment. I can handle that. Your explanation has gone on a tangent. It has a bit. Now, the point is that each one of those sections within the conditions is known as a clause. I'm running out of space. Now, can anyone spot something that's going on the board right now? Anyone? Anyone? Hawker? Anyone? This word, clause, is a homophone. Now, we've used that word before, haven't we? Homophone. Homophone is a word that sounds like another word. Stop making up jokes in your head, Groggy. And, comes back from jokes. It's happened before. It's homophone. So when the barman says, after this long condition, or clause, yes, he says, why the big clause? He could be talking about the physical clause of the crab, or he could be talking about the clause of the contract. You see? And as we discussed before, so many times, if there's a line in a joke and it means two different things simultaneously, it's funny. It's an amusing thing. So that's basically why this particular joke that Roger has said, a huge crab walks into a bar and says to the barman, I demand 1 pint of lager, I will pay the full price provided that the following criteria are met. The beer should be served to me within 1 minute of ordering and at a temperature of between 6 and 9 degrees Celsius. The beer should be served in a clean, cold glass and a beer mat must be provided. If the quality of the provided beer does not meet high standards, you must agree to refund the full amount charged and provide any additional financial compensation for any discomfort, stress or time wasted. The barman looks at the crab and says, why the big clause? That's why that's funny. That's why that's funny. Have I explained that joke to your satisfaction? Plankton 1975.
You're clapping for him?
I'm going to take that.
Don't clap for him.
I'm going to take that slightly mediated applause as a yes and get back to the game. Above and beyond. Thank you, Plankton. Thank you. You're too kind.